Hi there, this is Mark Ittleman, speech-language pathologist, and welcome to the teaching of talking. Well, this particular video is going to be about our upcoming Aphasia conference in Las Vegas. It's a 3-day intensive program that is designed for caregivers and speech-language pathologists. And in those 3 days, where we're going to be meeting more than 8 hours a day, that is if you want to eat together too, or in the evening spend a little time, I'm going to convey to you many of the lessons that I've learned in providing speech therapy to those with aphasia for 46 years. Now, I've trained a lot of speech pathologists, and I've trained even a lot more care partners. And so therefore, I just want to have a little brief conversation about this. Here in America and throughout the world, there really isn't much work done where caregivers are really trained in what to do for those with aphasia. One of the things that I learned very early on in my career was that once I understood aphasia, and once I understood the methodology to use to help people speak again, I realized that before I knew it, therapy would be stopped because there have always been caps on therapy. Now, some of the private insurers will allow longer periods of time for therapy, whereas some of the national and other healthcare-related programs may not. And so what I learned was that one of the most important things that a speech pathologist could do would be to train a caregiver. Because, after all, the patient is home with a caregiver for most of their waking hours. Now, there are also those who have aphasia, who may live by themselves, or who don't have help. And they are going to have more of a challenge than those with a committed caregiver because there's something called a speech model. And a speech model is someone to help the individual talk or talk again. And if you look back over time, and if you think about Helen Keller, or if you think about just about anybody who's ever had a significant speech and language difficulty, they've had a caregiver or a therapist or a committed spouse who has learned what to do and is active at home doing that each and every day. And it's not about workbooks, and it's not about iPads, and it's not about flashcards. That's a misnomer, okay? Those are good, and they keep a person working on their language, but it's not talking. Talking is an interaction of two people. And so if you want to learn how to talk, you've got to talk. And the best person to have a talk with is someone at home, or whether it's a daughter or a son or a spouse or a neighbor. There's got to be somebody, if you want to make the best of all progress, there's got to be somebody who's trained in what to do. Now, the problem is that, speech therapy for aphasia is a very complex deal. There are lots of different kinds of aphasias, and there are many aphasias that are complicated with various motor problems. There are dysarthrias, there's slurred speech, there's receptive language difficulty. So There's no one method, okay, that's going to help your loved one. And don't think that teaching them happy birthday or how to sing is going to help their language processes and their speech processes. It's good for motor speech, but it's not necessarily good to help a person get back to interacting, into talking, because talking is a totally different process than music is. Now, I'm not saying that music isn't helpful. It is, but it's not pertinent to the actual process of thinking, creating an idea, and speaking about it, asking questions, answering questions. Singing doesn't address those things, and that's what speaking is. So one of the things we're having a seminar in Las Vegas. And this is an opportunity for you to leave town. It's an opportunity for you to leave town, come to Las Vegas, and work with me. Now, you know, as I said, aphasia is a very complex problem. And you've got to step out of your normal routine and come into a scientific lab where you can learn all about aphasia and you can learn how to help your loved one with aphasia. And there won't be any distracting telephone calls. There won't be any distracting people who are going to come over or knock on your door or anything like this. For 3 whole days, I'm going to indoctrinate you. I'm going to indoctrinate you in the methods and techniques to help people speak who have aphasia. Now, I've spent 46 years, okay, doing this, okay? I'm not wet behind the ears, and I'm not some rah-rah person who thinks that they can cure the world, okay? That's just not realistic when it comes to aphasia. But what is realistic is that you can learn some methods and some techniques that will help your loved ones speak, that will help engage them in conversation at the table, during the holidays, during dinner, Sunday dinner with the family, friends coming over. And we suggest that you keep the contacts open with friends and that you invite them to the house and that you engage your loved one once you know how in speaking so that they can speak and interact with you and with their friends in your home or at a restaurant in a social situation. Because one of the things that people with aphasia, one of the things that happens to them is that their friends and their support system, friends who had been, you know, great friends and great people for a long time, stop coming around. They're embarrassed. They're uncomfortable because the person with aphasia has difficulty talking. But a caregiver who learns what to do to help their loved one speak will be able to, in most cases, invite friends, invite family to the house, and have the person with aphasia talking and interacting with assistance. Now, the reason why, I left full-time hospital employ about 5 or 6 years ago. And before I left, I just made it a commitment that I was going to write a book, that I was going to create a video program, and that I was going to spend pretty much the rest of my life educating people, educating caregivers about what they can do to help a person speak or speak again. And because of that, I see online patients during the week, every week, and I continue to do one-on-one therapy, and I continue to develop new ideas and new approaches and variations on approaches so that those with aphasia will talk. And I've just had this as one of those things that I'm totally committed to. You know, there are a lot of people who work that aren't really totally committed. I mean, they'll go to work every day and they'll do their jobs, but they're not totally committed. The person who's totally committed is someone who basically kind of never stops working. They kind of have an idea about something and just continue to work hard and to continue to work long to develop and make a particular product the best it can possibly be. There are just some people who are just so committed, whether it be building a rocket ship or a car or any number of things. We know people like this who just never stop working because they have an idea and they want to move that idea forward. And I've wanted to move the idea forward of therapists who learn the teaching of talking method and who can teach their caregivers when they do speech therapy in hospitals or clinics or offices. Now, throughout my years of doing therapy, I made it a point where the caregiver had to attend each and every visit. And I made sure that that caregiver could do the speech and language stimulation almost as well as I could. And I'll tell you, I can put almost any caregiver who's worked with me against anybody when it comes to working with those with aphasia and stimulating their speech and language. I can put them against anybody because they've had intensive speech and language training with me. And that's what I plan on giving you at the meeting in Las Vegas on March 24th, 25th, 26th. It will be a very intensive seminar. You can bring your loved one with aphasia or apraxia or both, and we'll work with you intensively those 3 days. Now, we're only going to choose 10 people to attend. Now, if you want to attend by yourself and you're going to leave the person with aphasia or apraxia at home, that's okay because we'll have people for you to work with. Or if you're the type of person who wants to bring your loved one with aphasia, then you bring that person. And you're going to have intensive, everyday stimulation. Now, I'm not going to lecture you. I mean, some of the things you're going to need to know, but most of the time that you're going to be here is I'm going to have you working with your loved one who's got aphasia, and I'm going to show you what you need to be able to do and to do it during the time that you're here, so that when you leave here, you're confident and you can be stimulating speech and language on the airplane home, in the restaurant, wherever you happen to be. From then on, you can be stimulating speech and language. And that's another reason why I train caregivers, because speech therapy once or twice a week, or even 3 times a week for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever it is never enough to help a person regain the ability to speak. I mean, just think about it. Children who are at home, who learn how to talk, they have moms, and those moms are constantly interacting with them. Constantly, when they're given a bottle, when they're given food, when they go places, when they're in the supermarket, always the mother is interacting with them, is talking with them, saying words to them, having them repeat those words back. And that's what also has to be done with aphasia. It's kind of like teaching a person how to speak all over again. But it's not that intensive because of the fact that the person with aphasia, in most cases, still has the language in the mind, but there's difficulty accessing the language. And that's what we're going to teach you how to do also, to teach you some of the ways that are helpful to help access the context of the speaking situation and the words and the phrases and the sentences and all the words that are necessary for every day, like coffee, like cream, like the expressions, I love you, or let's go, or I don't want to. I mean, we cover all the language, okay? All the language. And you help us cover all the language because you know the language that is necessary at home for that person to start using again. And you know their favorite expressions, you know what their favorite foods are, you know what their favorite activities are, you know where they like to go. I mean, you just know everything about them, and you can be stimulating that language each and every day. You can be stimulating that language each and every day because you know the language that is necessary. You know the language that's necessary, and you know that person better than anybody else in the world. And chances are you probably also love them and want to see them do well. So that's a little bit about the upcoming meeting in Las Vegas in March 24th, 25th, 26th. And if you would like to attend, it's an investment. It's an investment of your time. It's an investment of expense. If you'd like to make that investment, and if you're the type of person who wants or needs that one-on-one, that individual mentoring, then we can help you and we can teach you in that 3-day meeting of what to do, where to start, and teach you in a step-by-step way and have you basically do that. Have you basically do that while you're here so that you'll feel confident and you'll feel like you've got the skills in order to do that. So this is Mark Ittleman, speech-language pathologist, just sharing with you some information about our upcoming Las Vegas intensive 3-day meeting. And down below, you'll also find a link to information about the Aphasia Seminar. It'll cover everything from soup to nuts about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And if you have any questions at all, there's also my email address down below where you can contact me if you have any questions, or if you want to set up a phone call with me to discuss this, I'd be more than happy to help you. So this is Mark Ittleman, speech-language pathologist, wishing you a wonderful day today. And don't forget, down below is our email address and all the information about the seminar. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up, okay, if you've liked this video. Bye-bye now.